Schiller contextualizes his previous statement on the aesthetic condition of mind being akin to a cipher. If looked at properly, this state is of the highest reality given the unlimitedness of the unified sensuous and formal powers. The aesthetic condition transports us to a timeless place, where any human capacity could be purely developed without impediment from externality. Throughout the book, Schiller forcefully argued that an overdose of sensation or intellection leads to weakness in the first case and coldness in the second. Neither is the case with beauty. In the aesthetic condition, we can freely oscillate between play and rigor, delight and strength, passion and formality. A true work of beauty ought to elevate us to freedom of spirit with vigor and strength. Schiller thinks this pure aesthetic experience leads to a mode of operation in life. What are we inclined to do after an intense enjoyment of beauty? Before he can give that answer, he first digresses and says that each of the art forms are imperfect, and each one is naturally a little closer to one of man's powers. For instance, music is very imaginative and sensual, and it would not make complete sense to launch into theoretical conversations after such an experience. Sculpture may be too close to the intellect to lead to frivolity. Schiller does think that the arts are on the same trajectory, though, and becoming more like one another, where music is becoming more like sculpture and vice versa. The limitations of each art form are being transcended so that the form of the artwork precipitates the aesthetic condition of man. The content of the artwork almost becomes incidental. The true artist overcomes, or in Schiller's words, annihilates material by means of form. That's on page 106. So the true work of art does not excite one side of our nature more than another. It ought to be received with equal parts seriousness and play. Schiller thinks that art forms that stir up our emotions, such as tragedy, or art forms that try to be educative or didactic, are contradictions in terms. Art cannot appeal to only one side of our nature, or it disturbs the aesthetic condition, which is a perfect balance and freedom from our physical and moral dimensions. I'm cool with this, but I'm still mystified by what it means to impress form upon artistic material. We are told that the form cannot be educative principle. So what options are we left with in regards to formality? Can Schiller give us an example of how form properly tames material and induces the aesthetic condition?